Even if you oppose Donald Trump's tariffs, there's no arguing with his assessment. Canada is a nation run by criminals for criminals. During a recent parliamentary meeting, the RCMP made a stunning admission.
How many organized crime groups are involved?
Over 4,000 organized crime groups in Canada, as assessed by the Criminal Intelligence Service Canada.
4,000 individual organized crime groups, all with their own distinct leadership and membership?
That's correct.
According to a public safety report, the average organized crime group consists of 20 to 50 members. If we take the median estimate of 35 members per group, that means Canada has approximately 140,000 gangsters and mobsters operating within its borders. These are not petty criminals struggling to make ends meet. They are professionals. This explosion of organized crime is staggering. In 2011, a national security report estimated there were around 800 organized crime groups in Canada. Fast forward just 14 years, and that number has ballooned by 400%. Even in just the last 4 years, organized crime has doubled, with a 2021 RCMP report estimating 2,000 groups compared to today's 4,000. Worse still, these groups are not just growing in number, they are deeply embedded in Canadian society. And they're violent. The RCMP has admitted that 73% of assessed organized crime groups are involved in violent activities, including assaults, extortion, shootings, and homicides. More than half have international connections across 77 countries. Many members of organized crime groups are involved in the public sector, leveraging family connections, romantic relationships, and monetary gain to further corruption within government institutions. Our own government openly admits that organized crime has infiltrated the public sector, yet it continues to implement policies that enable criminal enterprises to thrive. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Consider the actions of the Trudeau government. Soft on crime laws, including the rollback of mandatory minimum sentences for violent offenders. Safe supply policies, where taxpayers fund the distribution of narcotics that often end up on the black market. Mass migration with minimal fraud prevention measures, allowing international criminals to exploit Canada's weak enforcement mechanisms. The RCMP disbanding its financial crimes unit while Canada has become recognized as a global money laundering hub. Liberal cabinet ministers sharing addresses with known international drug smugglers, raising serious questions about corruption at the highest levels. And let's not forget about Cameron Ortiz, a former senior RCMP intelligence official being found guilty of leaking state secrets to organized crime. This isn't a new problem, but it is getting worse. In 2009, a former senior engineer at Quebec's Transport Ministry claimed that the mafia controlled 80% of government contracts. If that was the state of affairs 15 years ago, and crime has only gotten worse since then, what does that say about Canada today? There is little distinction left between Canada's government and its criminal underworld. At this point, the two are intertwined, operating in tandem to the detriment of ordinary Canadians. With Canada at a crossroads for leadership and a potential election looming, the stakes cannot be higher. Any leader who does not place corruption and crime at the top of their agenda must be assumed to have a vested interest in seeing Canada remain a lawless playground for criminals. Without widespread accountability and legal measures taken against public officials who sell out Canada to criminals and foreign states, we will remain in the crosshairs of Donald Trump.